Welcome back to the Virtual Aerospace and Cyber Conference. Joining me now in our vASC studio is Major General Darryl Burke, Senior Vice President for Business Strategy at CACI, for a sponsored interview. CACI provides expertise and technology to enterprise and mission customers in support of national security missions. Darryl, welcome.
Good to be here. Thanks.
Great. Well, it's good to have you. So tell us a little bit about CACI and what you do for the Air Force.
Yeah, so let me first start by saying thanks to AFA. I think this virtual symposium has been great. I know it's very difficult to put on it in a quick amount of time, and I really want to say thank you to AFA and the Mitchell Institute for all of the interviews and things that you've put forth during the pandemic that's allowed leadership, Air Force leadership, and obviously industry to continue to collaborate. So it's really been good. And so,
thank you.
A little bit about CACI. We're a $5.7 billion company. We have 23,000 employees worldwide in 750 plus locations. Our customer base is predominantly 70% DoD, 26% civilian federal agency, and about 4% commercial. I was very attracted to the company after leaving the military. CACI is their values align with the Air Force core values and integrity first, service before self, and excellence all we do. Dr. London, who is our chairman of the board and has been with CACI for quite some years now, has established an ethos and a core value of integrity throughout the company. And he talks about it in his book he's written on character, integrity, and ethics. And so it fits very well, very nicely for those who want to leave the Air Force and find a job in the civilian industry. And then excellent all we do is like a mantra for CACI. We continually use innovation to improve our products and services that we provide our customers. What you won't hear is the service before self, but we have a lot of CACI employees that are working side by side with military members, whether in garrison or downrange and deployed locations, and even outside the wire. So we get it, we understand, and I think that's largely because 37% of the company are veterans. And in fact, just last week, Secretary of Defense Esper awarded us the Secretary of Defense Employee Support Freedom Award for our support for Guard and Reserve personnel. So it's pretty exciting to be a company with a part of a company that is so focused on a government, a national security company. And our business model, if you will, is in two areas, our operating model, and that's in enterprise and in mission. On the enterprise side, I think the Air Force really kind of understands that already. It's IT, business solutions. It's where we take technology and functional knowledge and put it together to support operations. And we have lots of offerings in that regard in applicable solutions, in infrastructure, in networking, data center solutions, IT service, and also professional and technical expertise. And also, I'd like to put a plug into the Air Force to come out and take a look at our ASF facility. We have an ASF factory facility, if you will, out in Ashburn, where we do a lot of dev agile solutions. And so it's very customer focused, and we work to provide the right solution for each customer. And so it's something that I think, in particular, the Air Force should see. And then
you said mission systems.
A lot of software, a lot of different types of solutions that they work together out there, and it's done with customer focus on what you're trying to do and try to improve that solution. And it's a DevSecOps process, similar to what the military is using today. And then on the mission side, I think it's important, the Air Force probably doesn't know this as much as we acquired Mastodon and LGS companies about just over a year or so ago. So we have a product line now.
And what sort of products are those?
So we have electronic warfare, we do EMS products, cybersecurity, photonics, and counter UAS as something that we offer, and more.
So unmanned aerial systems are actually becoming more of a threat. The cost is relatively low for even a terrorist organization can put up a bird for a pretty small amount of money. So what are you doing in that area, and how are you countering that threat?
Yeah, so that's a good question. CACI has been involved in counter UAS strategy for over 2 decades now. Initially, as you said, a nation-state actor would have, and we worked in counter UAS strategies during that time period. Of course, when they did get smaller and they became more readily available, cheaper, got into the hands of a bunch of different nefarious actors, the threat increased, I think, to U.S. military forces and facilities. And so CACI then developed its own product line, the Korean system, a family of systems in counter UAS. It's a part of our Sky network, if you will. But I would tell you that it's a system that's already been very competitive against other systems. It was recently picked out by the JCO, the Joint Counter UAS Office for Counter UAS, as one of 8 systems in the Department of Defense that can be used by DoD. And then just about a month ago, we acquired AVT, Ascent Vision Technologies, which is a company that does multi-domain, C4 ISR, stabilized gyros, and do sensors, especially EO and IR sensors. So we've brought them in. They're actually working in the Marine Corps system, LMATIS system, which is also one of the 8 in the JCO's structure. So we're now combining the technologies to improve our systems.
What sort of technology are those? So the counter UAS technology, is this really more of a defense system or an offensive defensive system? Are you shooting or scanning?
More of a passive system, and we've got it in around the world in about. We've got 700 systems out there right now, and we've got 750 people working across the IC and the Department of Defense in support of counter UAS strategies.
So a really significant deployed base then.
It is, yeah.
So you started to talk about your ISR and EW products. What kind of products are those?
Okay, so we have our ISR background. We're more of what I would call CACI as an integrator. So we don't actually develop platforms. So we bring our technology and put them into different platforms. So helps with survivability, situational awareness, with mobility, interoperability. And we built state-of-the-art sensors for the systems, or for the different platforms, and also some actual customer-defined software to work with the surveillance and reconnaissance. We have a complete life cycle program where we can design and then develop and then do the maintenance and the training, and then continuous innovation, so we maintain a great product. And we're doing that with a number of military systems right now, where we're doing a complete life cycle process with some of the systems. I can't talk about the systems, but the systems out there, and they're doing that find, fix, track, target, engage process, and so it's been very successful for us and something that we're continuing to do.
So all of these technologies kind of start combining into the joint all-domain command and control kind of environment, that things that Dr. Roper have been talking about lately. And it's really all about data. That's kind of something you did. You were in the intelligence arena during your military career. Talk to us about how that's evolving and where you see CACI fitting in.
So I left JFCC ISR in 2012.
And just share the full names. So
it's Joint Forces Component Command, ISR, which doesn't actually exist anymore. And that's a story for another time. And I was also the Deputy Director of Collection Management for the DIA. So yes, data is a big thing, and it's and every day I watch my analysts pour over massive amounts of data. Most of the data doesn't obviously ever get looked at. There was a great story or piece today that was written about General Kelly yesterday. He was talking about he's got to find ways to do AI and machine learning to speed up this processing and enable us to move data faster. And so at CACI, that's very big for us. It's when I left, it was very human intensive, but now we're starting to find. We've actually developed a tool that takes a lot of intelligence data and can fuse this multi-intelligence data into a product, and that's where we need to be moving. More automation, more AI, more machine learning. Otherwise, I always found that in the end, we became more like forensic scientists, where you go back and figure out what did we miss, and the parts are usually always there. So this is going to be important in the future to get that data at the right place, to the right person at the right time. And I think that's what they're trying to do with ABMS. And I know CACI is doing a lot of work with, in the SIGINT field right now, where with exploitation that takes place very quickly. We do a lot of work with FISINT. In fact, we provide about 100% of the products for FISINT and across the IC and DoD. And again, we have that tool that we're already starting to share with the Air Force.
So you've also got a cyber tool. You know, everybody's walking around with a phone these days. Everyone is also therefore a cyber risk. Tell us about this app that you've got that kind of turns your phone into a secure device.
Yeah, so we have an app that I'm extremely proud of. It's called Steelbox. And in my last 20 years in the Air Force, I spent much of my time walking around attached to a phone or a BlackBerry or a brick. And inevitably, you always get a phone call where somebody wants to talk about something sensitive that you clearly don't want to talk about over the telephone. And so you have to either go secure some way if you have that capability, or you got to go find a phone or someplace where you tell the individual to call you back. So yeah, nowadays everybody walks around with a smartphone, which is magnificent. I mean, General Welsh said a couple of years ago that you take a captive 30 years old and he holds up a smartphone and he's got more information and power with a power tool that nobody's ever had in the history of warfare. And but when you take a look at it, I mean, the DoD does a very good job of securing the data inside those phones that they're issuing to people. But when you pick up the phone and you start talking to somebody, it's not secure, and the text messaging that you're doing is not secure. So CACI saw that and developed this app called Steelbox. You just essentially pick up your phone, you hit the app, and it allows you to talk with high definition voice over the telephone. And also secure text messaging, and it meets all government requirements, NIAP, FedRAMP, NSA requirements, and so it's a phenomenal system, and it's just as we call it, a software solution as a service, if you will. So the military doesn't have any fixed costs or anything with it. And we've already sold it to 3 federal agencies that are using it already.
So it's encrypting on both ends?
Yes.
And
yeah, it's an encrypted server. Both people, have the app, and
I see. Both have the app.
So, and you can download it. I mean, literally, go right now. You could look in, go online to your app store, and Steelbox will download. You have to have an activation code, obviously, to be able to use it. But it's a phenomenal. For me, as the commander of Air Force District Washington for 3 years, I would have loved to have had it to talk to the JTF and other folks
Sure.
all the time. So yeah.
So you have real customers now, and is that an IDIQ? Or is that
it's real customers, and you can download it from a GSA schedule and get it that way. So I'm hoping that the Air Force will take a look at the product.
Very good. So let's just talk one more kind of topic. Let's talk a little bit about the Space Force. You spent a career in the Air Force. We haven't had a new service in 75 years, so it's a kind of a new experience for everybody. How do you see that Space Force changing the landscape and creating opportunity for you at CACI?
So when I think about space and I think about Space Force, I think the challenge, actually, I almost think I should turn the question back around the other way, is how is Space Force going to integrate with industry? Because if you take a look at history from 1950 to today, and you'll see in the beginning DoD led the way. I mean, with the space program, GPS satellites, the internet even, if you will, until about 1990, and then you see the Pentium chip that was developed, and from there, industry. Technology has just exponentially increased. I mean, everything from, you can talk 2G through 5G.
Sure.
You can talk internet tools. You talk virtual reality, augmented reality, all of these different things that have been developed by industry. And frankly, I mean, I do believe that General J. Raymond and General D.T. Thompson and J.T. Thompson already get that, and they're embracing industry. I mean, the satellites being developed today have much higher speeds and capacities, and we're all watching as civilian industry is starting to lead in its own way in space. So I think as General Raymond gets started, he's talking about having more agile acquisition process, that as he engages with industry, I think the Space Force is going to move quickly.
Well, Darryl Burke, CACI, thank you so much for joining
Okay,
us.
well, thanks for having me.
All right, let's do it again.
Okay, thanks.